Welcome to day 4 of the Hope to Hope conference. I am so excited you are joining us. This is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team.
This is Coni Meyers with the Crystal Light Moment Success Movement and Publishing.
And we are excited this morning about this grand finale day of the conference.
Oh, wow.
It has been absolutely amazing.
We can't quit talking about it, how incredible the people have been. And all the speakers have just been absolutely so joyful to talk to. And they've blessed us with all of their thoughts and their ideas and their tips and their free offerings it's been absolutely unbelievable. And I hope that all of you that have been watching us all along the way have loved it very much as what we have.
Oh my goodness, yes. We hope that you are enjoying it and taking advantage of the access. I can't quit saying that part.
Absolutely.
If you don't take advantage, why are you not taking advantage of it? Because we have given you access, the other speakers have given you access, and why are you hesitating? Why are you holding back when you have such amazing access? I'm trying to share, just 1 second. I am trying to get the post done. I'm almost done, Miss Connie talk.
Well, maybe we should talk about why people don't move forward. Because how many times has it been that you've gone to a conference, or anybody out there that goes to any kind of speakers or any kind of a conference, and you always get some kind of a booklet and you make all your notes, and then you get it home and it sits on a desk or a table or gets put in a drawer, never to be opened again. And I think that's one of the things I like about Facebook Live is that there is no book you can tuck away. Now, you can leave it on your computer and never look at it again.
Yes.
But we're going to be doing some things to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we want to make sure that you have access even when you are in a different season, because everybody's in a certain season right now. No matter what season that is, you won't be in this season forever. There's an expiration date to this season. There'll be another season. You'll have another thing come up. You'll have another,
something happened.
Yeah.
Something happened in your life that you'll go, oh, I seem to remember seeing something on that conference, that Hope to Hope conference. And you'll be able to have access to it because, we were just talking before we went live that about time and how I'm going to be 70 next year, and you compare the speed that I'm at now compared to the speed I was at when I was 40. It's like night and day. That it's unbelievable how much you naturally slow down, and I don't like it, but it is what it is, and you have to be willing to accept. Okay, this is who I am today. These are the things I'm facing today. These are the things I'm looking forward to today. And like we talked about last night, until you're dead, there is always something. You have a decision to make of how you're going to live your life. And I love one of my mentors, not one of my major mentors, Mary Morrissey. Her mother at 90 decided to write a book and go on the road, a book tour on the road. She was 90. So anybody out there that says that I've had clients that were in their early 40s and they go, I'm too old to do that. And I can totally relate to that because I don't think I've ever told you this story. When I got my divorce when I was like 22. And I had a chance to say, okay, what is it that I would really love to do? And I always wanted to be an interior designer. Well, I looked into being an interior designer, and oh my God, there was going to be 2 years of education, and then there was going to be like another 2 years of internship if I did it the formal way. And I was like, well, I'm too old to be doing that. At 22, I was saying that. Now I can tell you, almost 70, you're never, ever too old.
You're never too old.
You're never too old.
And we were talking about the fact that it's an illusion that we think we can manage time.
Yeah.
Miss Connie is someone who, I'm in the trenches with her, so I see her in action, and she still gets more done than most 40-year-olds I know. but probably more 30-year-olds. But for her speed, it's less.
Yes.
You know, for her speed, she wishes that she could get more done. And I just kind of laugh because I think one of the things that changes too is the quality of things that you're doing.
Absolutely.
She's done a lot of things, but now the quality of what she's doing, she might be slower at it, but she's got a lot more value, I think, in what she chooses to get done.
Well, I think that comes with just, the older you get, the more knowledge you have, and the more refined everything becomes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to laugh sometimes, though, that I feel like, oh, gosh, if I were just 40 again. Then I think about it, I go, no, I don't want to be 40. I don't want to go through that again. Been there, done that. Pretty happy with where I am.
Don't want to go there again. Okay, well, we have an announcement about our Mr. Guest. We are sad to say that they could not make it because, and that is why I did not put out who it was. We knew that there was a conflict, but they were doing their best to try to get on, and that's not going to happen. So I actually asked Miss Coni if I could talk to her some about her leadership program and skills, really, and some of the retreats that she's doing, because I've been part of some of that, and it is amazing sauce the way the people are changed from what she's doing. So we're going to talk a little bit this morning about that. I do.
Well, it really is all about hope.
Yes.
It's what I'm doing is maybe taking a little bit different approach, but just like all the speakers that we've had on, mm-hmm. everybody has their own approach. And mm-hmm. for me, I really got infatuated and just started really loving, and I started looking at the mindfulness, and several of the speakers talked about how you have to have the right mindset. And if you want hope, you have to have a mindset that's going to provide that hope. Mm-hmm. And so the work that I've really redefined it over the last couple of years of what it is that I love doing. And I love the coaching. I have a handful of coaching clients. I don't want a large group of coaching clients because I love doing my retreats and working with Kim and all the things that we're doing together. So I want to limit the number of coaching clients that I have. So
can I address that real quick?
Yes.
That's something that if you're doing coaching or you're doing business in any form or fashion in that way, consider that. We look at and we think we need 100 clients to be able to do whatever it is that we want to do, or to be a true coach, or we have these things we self-talk that it has to be this thing. But the truth is, having fewer coaching clients actually gives them more, because you're not so spread thin, and you're not so struggling to get one call in and then another call in and then another call in. Well, and I think it's really important to be really present. Mm-hmm. And what's really interesting is my coaching clients come to me. It's like a blessing, because like we talked about Ada yesterday. I mean, it was a post on Facebook that where I reached out to her, and it was started with me sending her the book. And you weren't looking for a client. I wasn't looking for a client. I saw somebody really hurting, and I wanted to help her. And to be honest with you, that's the way most of my coaching clients come. They call me. I don't go out and pursue coaching clients, because I love helping everybody, and I love making that part of my gift. So when I do my retreats and everything, I always offer to do some free coaching with them at the group afterwards, or at a very nominal cost, depending on where we're doing it and what we're doing. But yeah, my passion is watching people grow, and I love the fact, like my very first coaching client 4 years ago, about 4 months ago, called me on the phone to tell me that everything she had put in her vision had finally happened 4 years ago. And she was my very first coaching client. So I get those calls and those emails and Facebook messages all the time, and I love it. And I want to say, you didn't start coaching 4 years ago. You just started coaching in this way 4 years ago because
Right.
you've been doing
I've
this
been
for
coaching.
decades.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things I realized when I first talked to the Life Master Institute, and I got my this email came out of the computer and slapped me in the face and said, "You need to call these people." Guy was very specific about that, so I picked up the phone and called, and I'm like, "What do I know about life coaching?" And then as we're talking, you had to qualify. It wasn't you just sent the money and then you got your certificate. There was a whole process involved. And then as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, I hope I'll qualify. And then I get off the phone and I realize I've been a coach. We just didn't call it coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I was a sales manager. I had my own business where I worked with other people. I was a marketing director. I was always coaching people. Just it wasn't called that. So now my practice now is really I love working with people that are stepping into their visions, whether it's personal or professional, and then showing them that everybody has to be a leader of their own life, and that comes with real mindfulness practices. So I think and that when you start actually participating in the mindfulness practices, what you realize, first of all, we talked a lot about being present yesterday, and if you are present, you're not in autopilot where everything is just kind of going on around you, or you're not living your life by default. You're present, and you're coming. The things that you're supposed to come to you will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't,
and we're proof of that.
And we're proof of that. Absolutely. This conference is proof of that. And so creating that environment where you can be still, whether it's for a minute, you don't have to close your eyes. It doesn't have to be a 30 or 45-minute meditation. It can be a 1 minute just breathing, and you don't even have to close your eyes. Mm-hmm. But it makes an incredible difference in how things happen in your life. And you couple that with a true vision of what you see for yourself in some time of time frame, whether it's 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now. Mm-hmm. And I always tell everybody, you have to come from that vision. Mm-hmm. You cannot go to it. Those goals and things you set are that bridge, that gaps from where you are today, that you're coming from your vision. And then I forget who it was yesterday that talked about, who was the one that talked about armor? That was
Michelle O'Neill.
Michelle, she was talking about how you step out of the house in the morning, what that looks like, what that feels like, mm-hmm. And all the senses. Well, that's how strong that vision has to be. And if you really want to have hope, it starts with a clear picture and a clear vision of what it is that you truly love. Mm-hmm. And that will give you the starting point.
Clarity brings power to those steps and those goals. Clarity makes it something that you can look at. You know, if you're clear on where you're going, if I am clear, I am going to, I'm clearly going to go to Las Vegas. I'm going to go to this address. I'm going to go to this house, this thing. It's clear. You put it in your GPS and you make a right turn and a left turn and you get on the highway and you get off the highway and you do all the things that you've got to do, but it's clear. So when something pops up and it says, oh, you could go over here to Utah, you don't go that direction because that's not where you're clearly headed to. And I think that's a great
analogy.
Yeah, for our vision.
You wouldn't get in your car and drive across the country without knowing where you want to end up.
Yeah. Well, now sometimes you will.
That's
but
true.
That's a different.
If you're a wanderer like me.
but you know, you can. There are times, and I'll just be honest. There are times where things like that happen in your vision, even that you have to go through that process. I know at one point I was looking at a house. And I knew it wasn't the right house, but I was struggling with knowing what house I was supposed to buy. And I woke up one morning and I said, okay, I know the house is out there and I know what I'm supposed to do. And I got in the truck and followed my just feelings of I need to go right here, I need to go left there,
yeah.
and I came to the house that I bought because it was time. It was the right time, it was the right thing. I mean all of the things lined up. And so sometimes we don't have a specific address.
No.
But that's where coaching, I think, does come in. Is coaching can hold you by the hand sometimes and say, okay, well, are you doing the things to be prepared to know where that address is?
That's key, being prepared.
Are you prepared for what you're asking for? Because we just had something happen and I just laughed because don't ask this princess why it shocks her every time, but it does. And that is, you ask for clarity and then all this chaos happens.
Exactly.
It's like everything in your world is turned upside down or twisted, and you step back and go, I want a clarity, not confusion. But for a minute, it seems like your world is turned upside down sometimes when you're getting clarity, because all of a sudden you have to start cutting things out of your life.
Absolutely. So, and that's really what crystalline moments are all about, because those moments of clarity always have opportunity, but there's always, how do you get to that opportunity without cutting things out, without creating, I mean, it's automatic that chaos happens. And certainly, I think that's really why I'm doing what I'm doing, because when Tom died and I realized, I tried to go back to my old life about 6 weeks later, and I said, okay, I'm just going to jump back into my work, because I was always a workaholic. And, I'd put 50, 60 hours of work, 70 hours. If I didn't have something else to do, I worked. And so when Tom passed, and it was about 2 months after, I decided that I was just the best thing for me to do, because that'd been my mentality. The best thing for me to do was to jump right back into work. Mm-hmm. And
familiar.
Yeah, it was familiarity, and something very interesting happened, because in that 6 months where I had taken time off of work, I didn't do it consciously, but I started listening to some things about tapping. I started doing some meditation, and the person that stopped working in October of 2010 was not the person that went back to work, and it would have been May of 2011, because that person during that period of time, first of all, stopped. She had never stopped before. Yeah. And so she stopped, and she really was, without knowing she was doing it, she was really taking a look at her life, and having that time with Tom during that was truly the most precious time of our marriage. We were married 25 years. It was truly the most precious time. That last 6 months, I would not give that up for anything. Mm-hmm. But then I decided to jump back into work, and I couldn't do it. It was like I was having this out of body experience where something was going. The conversation was over here, and I'm over here, and I'm like, it wasn't computing at all. And I finally realized that the life that I had known was gone. Well, when you realize that life you've known is gone, you're like, oh my God, what do I do now?
Well, and I think you came to a place of, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? How does this work? Because sometimes we get our identity in those things we're doing instead of in who we are. And
Absolutely.
It's dangerous to do that. But
Absolutely.
We all, I think, are guilty of starting there. We don't realize that the things that we're doing are not us.
Exactly.
They're just the things we're doing. We might be called to those things, but it's still not us.
No, it's not. It's not why we were put on this earth. And I was very, very, very fortunate that I had people in my life. That this one gal just said, start writing down everything you've ever wanted to do. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. Mm-hmm. And as a young girl, I was part of a baton twirling team. And so I put down professional baton twirler, because that was something when I was like 8 or 9 years old that I wanted to be. And I started writing it down, and it was very interesting. Like I tell everybody, when you start this process, and you start really getting clear with your purpose. Why were you put on this earth? And then you get all of us, once you get clear with your purpose, then things start folding into place. And if you just trust God, trust the universe, whatever your belief system is, trust that and follow it. And I had never done anything like that in my life. I used to argue with my inner voice. I would have these big time arguments, and I would lose every time. That's how I ended up having a partner take me for $250,000, because I wasn't listening. But
that's what happens. And I want to speak to that for a minute. That's another thing that it's very difficult when we don't slow down and we don't pay attention to that inner voice and we don't pay attention to that intuition, because we have God-given intuition that we ignore because maybe that's not what society says to do, or maybe that's not what other people around us say to do. But when we have that intuition, we should always follow that, because it's much more wise than we are.
Well, absolutely.
And it comes from a place that we think can't be trusted, but the truth is that's what can be trusted.
Well, I love what Wayne Dyer says. He says that when we pray, we're speaking to God. When we listen to our inner voice, God is speaking to us.
That's really good.
And it's absolutely true. I mean, if you lead with your heart, we all think we have to lead with our brain. And that is absolutely that's the ego. This is the ego. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is God guiding us and showing us the direction we're supposed to be going.
Sometimes we get confused, though, I think, because we follow what we think is our heart, and it turns out to be foolishness. I think that's one of the things is we're not taught from the time we're little to follow our true heart and our true intuition. We have a mumbled up, it's kind of like a PA system that's garbled.
Right.
We have this thing and it's telling us the right thing, but what we hear is
Exactly.
And we have to be attuned, and we have to practice listening to that.
And sometimes as we're listening to our inner voice, what ends up happening is that our brain starts kicking in and creates paradigms. And we've already had paradigms in our life. We start having an argument between our brain and our instincts, and sometimes we confuse what really our true heart is saying versus the little brain trying to trick us.
Yes.
And so that's, I think, that's one of the reasons I love doing the retreats. I love having people figure out something for their vision, whether it's personal or professional, and then actually stepping into it, like Michelle was talking about. And you've been to them, that it's really a unique experience where you can take a group of people that are complete strangers in the beginning. They all know either me or Lee, but they don't really know each other, and bring them together and see the love and the support and that they have by the end of the week, because everybody is stepping into what they truly love. And when you do that, other people see that. And it creates this real bond among people, because you feel like you're truly connected at a whole different level than you are most of the time.
Well, you become vulnerable in those situations if you allow yourself. And that vulnerability connects to someone else's vulnerability. And it is super sexy, because then you turn out to have relationships that go way beyond business. What we're talking about, the retreats and the classes and everything, yes, we are in business. Yes, we make money.
Yes,
that is the goal in business. It's not, if you have it in your head that you shouldn't be making money in business, get out of business, because you're not understanding. But here's the thing, we're not trying to sell you anything today. We're trying to give you some understanding of some of the ways that we get to witness amazing things. And somebody, I thought it might even have been you, that said, would you do what you do and never get paid for it? I can tell you unequivocally, absolutely yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I get up in the morning and do what I would do no matter what.
Exactly.
Because I have finally come to the place of this is what I'm called to do. It's been a long process. It's been a long time coming. But yes, I absolutely would do this. And the fact that, we have an opportunity to take the loss and the grieving and the failings and I want to list all the bad things, all the things in our lives that have been harm or hurt or just things. I mean, things. We take all those things and turn them
into something just beautiful.
And this conference to me is so amazing because, again, I'm going to go back. The very first time I ever publicly told the Starfish story was at my son's funeral 16 years ago. 16 years ago, I saw what we're doing now, but let me tell you what I did. I shoved that puppy way deep because I wasn't a public speaker. I was willing to give, but I wanted to do it behind the room. Like I'll come clean your toilet. I'll come make you dinner. I'll come do that kind of stuff, but don't ask me to get in front of anybody.
Right.
And I don't look like I'm supposed to look to get in front of anyone. And I'm not polished. I'm a princess, but I'm not a smooth speaker. And all of those things came to me immediately when I saw all of this, and I shoved that down. And it took
as we've had a lot of people tell about how they shove stuff down.
It took years to get me to the place where I was even willing to start doing these things. I was even willing to start opening up and sharing like this. Now, I don't mind, one-on-one. I used to laugh and say I could talk to the entire world if you'd all just line up one at a time. But you get a few people together and I'm done. I get, nauseous thinking about being in front of a crowd. And then what does God call me to do? He calls me to speak to people. We've actually spoken in 2017, this year, and the year's not even over. We've actually spoken to more than 100,000 people. That is crazy.
Yes.
To me, in my mind, I can't even compute it as I say it. That is a crazy thing coming from someone who didn't even think they could speak in front of 2 people, let alone that many people in a year. So I am here to tell you whatever it is that you have had whispered, whatever God has whispered in your middle is what I call it, in your middle. Think about that. Don't shove that away. Don't put that away. You don't have to do anything about it today.
No.
Just write it down.
At least acknowledge it.
Yes.
Acknowledge it, and that's the thing. If you try to put too much pressure or too much thought process on it, if you know it's there, then let it go. Then it happens automatically. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. If you try to force it, then the brain gets involved and it gets all mushed up.
Yeah. If I had tried to do this back then, or if I had tried to do this in a different way, than what I was supposed to, I'd have made a mess out of it.
Right.
And I've made plenty of messes in my lifetime.
Haven't we all?
That's one of the things about this conference that I talk about a lot. And I know I'm a broken record, but there are things that we go through. Some we inflict on ourselves by our choices. Some are inflicted on us. But either way, we've got to get through those things. We've got to get through those things and keep going towards what it is that we should be doing. There are people waiting. There are people counting on us to show up.
Exactly.
There are people counting on you to show up. If you're not showing up in your life, if you're living a small life.
Right.
And I don't mean small as in you're not dealing with very many people. I'm talking about you're minimizing your value and you're minimizing what you're called to do, then that's a problem.
That is a huge problem.
Because there are a lot of people waiting on you to show up.
I think that's what most people do. We live our lives by I always say by default, because we think, okay, well, life is giving us this and life is giving us that. No, it's a choice. It's our decision to decide how we want to live our life. And a lot of people don't understand that that's possible. But when you start really listening to your inner voice, and you start allowing things to happen the way they're supposed to happen. And I forget who it was, whether it was yesterday or the day before, that talked about the fact that you have to just let it be. You can't push it. If there's a thing that gets in the way, if there's a fear that gets in the way, you work your way through that fear. Mm-hmm. But you can't force it. It has to go. If there's a stumbling block, I always tell people, if it's a stumbling block, then it just means there's a little bit of course correction that needs to be done.
Yes. And that's another thing. You can gain clarity in the most inopportune times.
Totally. That's usually when it happens.
Usually that's the way it works. If you are struggling with something, in your life, a decision that you have to make, or you are struggling with the path you're supposed to be on, that is one of the things that I have learned the hard way. Of every time there needs to be a course correction, it's usually, there's something simple comes along that could correct it, and I don't listen.
Right.
And then there's something bigger comes along, and I don't listen. And then something bigger comes along, and I still don't listen.
Exactly.
And so I'm here to tell you there's an easier way. There's a better way.
Well, Oprah calls it first it's the pebble, then it's the rock, then it's the boulder, then it's the brick wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm the brick wall princess.
Plenty of brick walls.
Because, we tolerate things in our lives. And I like the story of the frogs in the boiling water. If you drop a frog in boiling water, he'll jump out. I mean, immediately, because it's hot. It's a contrast.
Right.
It's a contrast from his body temperature to that boiling water. But if you put him in tepid water, the same as his body, and slowly turn that temperature up, he'll tolerate it. He'll tolerate it until he's dead.
Exactly.
And I think that's what we do. We will get in a situation and we will allow that temperature to go up a little. Well, they didn't really mean to say that.
Right.
Well, they didn't really mean to do that. And, we talked with Irina Hall yesterday about the fact that she didn't know whether to leave the abuse or not. And, I have made no bones about the fact that my first husband was abusive. And I made all kinds of excuses because I didn't know what to do about it. And if you found yourself in that situation where you've been talked to ugly, and you've been, someone has laid their hands on you, and you have been demeaned, I think that's another thing that little Dr. Barb was saying.
Right.
That, she made the comment, and I love her, the way she thinks about things is she made the comment she should have known better. Well, the truth is we all should know better, in the fact that no one should be hurting us. No one should be doing those things. But there's none of us that are above that. None of us come into the day and go, okay, on my vision, I'm going to have someone who slaps me every time I say something.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be in the vision at all.
I'm gonna have someone who, who tells me how ugly I am every day. I'm gonna have we don't do that.
No.
But what we do is we tolerate that little bit of.
Well, it always starts out little. It always starts out with a little bit of demeaning, or it all starts out with a little bit of manipulation, and then discounting your friends, your family, and so that you are isolated.
Isolated. That's a great word, because that's exactly what it is.
And then it just gets worse and worse and worse.
But the problem that I have been through, and I see so many other people go through, is we get out of that situation, and then we do it for them. Yeah. We spend time self-talking about, who do you think you are to do that? So you shouldn't do that. You're not skinny enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not young enough. You're not educated enough. You're not, you're not wealthy enough. You're not, and I could go on and on and on about whatever we're not enough of. But the truth is, we are enough. Whatever we are enough to do what it is we're supposed to do. Now, does that mean we always have the time and the money and everything it takes to do it. Of course not.
No. But
We are enough.
We can reframe. I mean, I would venture to guess that there is barely a human being out there that has not said in their own head, I'm not good enough for this. And in reality, we're all good enough to do whatever it is that we want to do.
Whatever we're supposed to be doing.
And that's why it's important to learn how to reframe those thoughts that we have, and to turn those around, because that self-talk, you need to change it from negative to positive. And you can do it through affirmations. You can do it by stopping and being still and rethinking and noticing what you're feeling when you're thinking that, and then reframe that and do something physical around it so that it sticks. There's all kinds of techniques out there that you can do to help you overcome it. But I think really when you're getting ready to really step into what it is you're supposed to be doing, that self-talk gets louder and louder and louder and louder until you learn how to overcome that little thing. And you know what? It doesn't matter how long you've been working at it. It's still going to show up.
Yes. I think that's one of the best tips from all the high level leaders, is that when they step out on stage, they still have that minute or moment of, oh, who do I think I am?
Exactly.
And we all have to overcome that, because here's the thing. I am no better than you are, but no one is better than I am either.
Right.
And that's the part that, we talk about pride. We don't want to seem like we're prideful because we think we should be on stage. But here's the thing. If you're thinking more of yourself than you should, that's pride. And if you're thinking less of yourself, that's pride. So that's a hard one for a lot of us. We've been kind of ingrained in the belief that you have to be humble, you have to be broke. To be
right.
humble, you have to be negative towards yourself, talk negatively, but that's not the truth.
No.
That's not humility.
That's not humility. That's actually being selfish.
Yes. So I don't want you to be going through things and not have opportunity to have access to someone who can at least give you some tips. Wherever you are right now and you're listening to this, I really want to encourage you with whatever you're going through, someone else has gone through too.
Absolutely.
And
nobody's
come out
alone.
The other side. And so if you are making the excuse you can't afford to go to a conference and you can't afford to go to these events, we've paid a lot of money to go to some pretty amazing events. But I don't think those events are any more amazing.
No, absolutely
as this
not.
Free conference that
Absolutely.
You can have access to these people. So don't waste this opportunity. Don't waste the opportunity to have the help and the encouragement and the hope to move forward. Don't stay stuck.
No.
Don't stay stuck.
No, the people that are here have participated, and I can't wait for today to see what more exciting things we're going to learn.
Yes.
Yeah, don't be afraid of using this and taking advantage, because everybody who's been on has said, here's my access. This is how you can reach me. And they're open to having that happen. So,
and we will be we're going to be forthright with you, because I don't like to be tricked either. I don't like to have someone bait and switch me and say, this is not a sales thing, but then I want you to buy something.
Right.
And so I'm going to tell you right up front, we are not trying to sell you anything. We do want you to know what we do, because there might come a time that you need us in a professional way, that we can be there for you. And so I will just tell you that Miss Coni and I have a class coming out, and we've done a kind of a collaborative where we have put 2 classes together that are amazing. They'll be coming out. And Miss Coni does retreats all over the world, which we do too, but Miss Coni's retreats are, they just, I can't tell you enough about how amazing they are. She's done Mazatlan, Mexico, which I didn't even know something could be that beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful there. We went in May with her to to one of them, and she just got back from another
November.
one.
We're doing another one in May.
In October, she's doing one in Italy.
In Italy.
We're supposed to be doing them.
And I'm going to be doing them right here we're going to be doing some together, and I'll be doing some right here in Vegas. My big thing with the retreats is yes, it's part of my business. But more importantly to me, is to see how people come away from that retreat. And we don't just sit and talk about stuff. We actually go out and we participate. When Kim went to the one in Mazatlan in May, we went and visited this little village. It's a very impoverished village.
Oh my goodness.
And we went into a second grade class, and she told the couple people that were translating for us, since we don't speak Spanish.
No,
she
terribly.
told them to tell the kids that they were princes and princesses, and that when something happens in their life that is either harmful or they're sad about, to remember that because this life princess, self-proclaimed but life princess, came into their classroom, that they are princes and princesses, and you know for a fact that at some point in time those kids will. Well, I can even tell you, we went back to the school in November, and I was thinking it was the third grade class, which would have been the fourth grade class, and it turned out it was actually the second grade class. So we're gonna combine it next time. But we had this whole thing set up where we went into this class, this fourth grade class, and we had them make ceramic tiles of what they would love to be, and it was so heartwarming. And what was really funny is the little second graders saw us, and well, they were third graders now. And they all come running up, and they're showing us their teeth because there's a free dental clinic there. And they're showing us their teeth and everything. And they're trying to come into the class. Well, we only had 27 tiles. So next time we're prepared. But so we did that. We released the turtles, the sea turtles, into the ocean. All of it being very symbolic, but very meaningful for bringing everybody together and helping us set up our vision. So, yes, there's a cost to it because it costs money to put the whole thing. We stay in a beautiful villa and everything, but it's really, for me, it's really about what happens from that. And we're going to be doing the same thing in Italy. I've had it planned for 2 years, and I had some knee problems the year before last, so I wasn't able to do it.
That was a devastating call.
Yeah, she's the one that helped me through that. Talk about getting the brain away from the heart.
She wanted to do it a year too soon when she needed to really go ahead and rehab her knee, have surgery, or she would have been miserable the entire time. And so it was a hard conversation, but I talked to her about the fact that she needed to wait a year and do it.
And I knew in my heart that I needed to wait a year. But my brain was telling me, I've got this whole thing planned. I mean, I had it planned right down to each meal. And it was like...
And everybody was excited about going. That's another thing. She had people on board ready to go. But this is the beauty of having like a coaching relationship or a mentoring relationship or someone in your life that'll just speak truth to you.
Yes.
Is that it was not the time.
It wasn't the time.
Even though we were all excited, if she had done that, she would have been miserable.
I've been miserable, and it would not have turned out to be what I want it to be. I want, anytime I do any of these, whether it's here in Vegas at my home, or whether it's Italy, or whether it's Mexico, or wherever we're going to go, I want it to be an experience that people are going to walk away from, and they're going to go, oh my God, that was unbelievable. I can't believe how I feel.
Yeah. And
I'm batting 1,000 right now, so I don't want to break that record.
Well, I want to say this because we do have a lot of people that do similar to what we do. And if any of you are interested in doing something collaboratively,
absolutely,
that's another thing that we think is a sexy business tool, is to do things together. We do a lot of things together, and we have similar things we teach, and they cross over. But the truth is, there's two different flavors of princess.
Well, that's it. People hear different things, and so they get information differently depending on who is speaking.
Yes.
I mean, many of the people and we talk to the things that they talked about are things that you and I talk about, but it sounds different.
Mhm.
And if something's going to connect with somebody, it's much better that it connects rather than worrying about who. I'm a firm believer that there's when it comes to business, there's enough business for everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't have to be.
We don't compete.
No,
like that's the thing.
absolutely
Is we compete with ourselves because we want to do better and better and better and give more and more value as time goes on. But I will tell you that if I can send business to any of our speakers,
Absolutely.
you can bet I'm doing that. That's another thing that I am sad to see some of the people in our industry will get very protective over thinking that we're trying to do something wrong. Even with this conference, they're like, "Oh, you're just trying to get my people," and I'm thinking, I'm not trying to get anything.
This is a gift.
I'm trying to give something,
right?
And because their motive is not right, they're scared. They are jealous, or they are afraid to do something collaboratively. And I'm telling you up front, if you've got somebody like that, don't hook up with them, because they will not be for the people that you work with best interest. They're out for their own best interest, and that's a hard thing. But you know what? Your heart will tell you that as well. Be very careful who you hook up with. We just don't.
No.
We don't have time to be mean to people. That's
well, and it improves with the people that showed up for this conference, and then in January we did my Kick Butt Leadership Conference, and it was just like this. It was totally free. The people that came in volunteered their time. They gave the information, just like the Hope to Help. It just had a little bit different flavor, a little bit different flavor, and it's because those are the people you want to surround yourself with. The people we've had on this conference and are going to have today are the people that are going to make the difference in everyone's lives, because they are generous, they are loving, and so I think that's important on any of the conferences that we do, in that we surround ourselves with people that are going to be giving, loving souls.
Because I don't want to bring anybody on this conference that's going to be mean to you. I mean, I feel like it's our job to steward this conference, and that is part of our responsibility, is not to bring you someone who's going to hurt you.
Right.
So if you ever have a grievance, message me.
Yes.
Because I don't want to promote someone who's backbiting or causing trouble behind the scenes or anything like that. We just don't believe in that. We don't participate in that, and we don't want you to. We don't want you to be hurt in any way. We want you to be blessed. And it's an exciting conference for us, because we know the outcome. We know what has happened in the past with the other conferences that we've done, and the changes. I'm with you. I love to hear the testimonials, and it's not because I'm thinking,
exactly. It's not about that. No, it's not.
It's
what the people have experienced.
Yes.
How it's changed their lives, and you're so
humbling.
Overjoyed. Oh, it's extremely
very humbling for us, because we have gone out on a limb to do things, and
I'm just joyful for the people that I'd like to give just one example of somebody we totally love. Leticia.
Oh.
We were just at her first restaurant last night for dinner. Leticia came. She didn't know why she was coming. I think that when I was posting about the retreat in May, I posted something about Bonita Bakery we go to, or this incredible woman. And Leticia saw that, and she says, well, I want to go. And she owns the #1 Mexican restaurant here in Las Vegas. Well, when she came, she had all this doubt and all this. But what she really wanted to do is open up 4 restaurants here in the Las Vegas area. And when she left the retreat, part of stepping into her vision was to sensorize what that felt like, what that looked like, what that sounded like. And she came back, and the first week she was back here, she had an investment group come to her and tell her, actually she had 3 different investment groups come to her to want her to open up her second restaurant. Well, she was planning on bringing her husband in November back to the retreat, but she couldn't.
She couldn't.
Because her second restaurant had the grand opening the week before. And the people that came to that retreat in May they've all experienced it. And it's I'm just so happy. I'm so happy, and my heart goes out to all these people, because they truly are doing what they're passionate about. Some of them, it was as simple as spending more time with their grandkids.
Yes.
And some of them was
Facebook. Follow them on Facebook. That's happened.
That's exactly what's happened. So everybody that came in May, that what they put into their vision, at least part of it has already happened, and that was only 6 months ago.
Yes.
So that's the joy. That's the joy. That's what I get out of it, and that's what this is all about.
It is, and we appreciate every one of you for watching and taking time. We all are busy, so we know what it is, a sacrifice to spend this much time with us. So we're thankful for you coming and being a part of this. We'll have our next session at 8:30 Pacific, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern.
So proud of you.
I think I finally did it. We'll have our next session, and you will love this one. She's a little powerhouse, and I'm telling you what, she got a voice that is just absolutely beautiful, but she is fun. She is a powerhouse, Kimberly Manning. So join us back in just a few minutes for session 2 of day 4 of the Hope to Hope conference.
We're so glad you're joining us. So glad.
I'm Kim White with the My Sexy Business team.
I'm Coni Meyers with Crystalline Moment Success Movement and Publishing.
And we love you guys.
Love you.